What's up, bitches? It's a new chapter! Hello, and welcome back to Neverwinter Nights. Now then, we want to read the journal. Through your valiant efforts, the city of Neverwinter has been saved, and what citizens it still has have been spared the suffering of the wailing death. Dester, the man responsible for spreading the plague, did not act alone, however. He had substantial backing from a powerful and mysterious cult, known only to be based in somewhere north of Neverwinter. With the city's long quarantine lifted and her lover Fenthic hanged, Lady Arabeth has moved the base of her investigation to the township of Port Llast, northernmost member of the Lord's Alliance. There she has once again put out the call to adventurers to seek out the cult's corruption wherever it may lie. The cult's base must be discovered and its leaders brought to justice. Arabeth awaits you in the town's mercenary barracks. Alright, first though, we have things to loot. These tools, thank you. And this chest. Boots of striding, what is that? That's Constitution, right? Yes, it is. Hello, Lorana. Ah, Violet Niam, you've awoken at last. I feel privileged to finally meet you, the hero of Neverwinter, here before me. I'm getting ahead of myself. You must excuse me. I'm just so excited to meet you. Welcome to Port Llast. I trust you had a safe journey from Neverwinter. My name is Lorana, and Lady Arabeth has given me the honor of greeting you upon your arrival. It's a pleasure to meet you. Let me say again how much I look up to you. We've all heard of the heroic deeds you performed in Neverwinter and how you saved so many lives from the terrible plague. I know you must be anxious to speak with Lady Arabeth and begin your search for the cult. She is anxious to speak with you too. You can find Lady Arabeth and her associate Erin Gend in the next room, near the exit of the building. Please go and see her right away. I wish you well on your quest to find the source of the horrible plague. I'm sure you will succeed and prove to be a hero once again. Goodbye! Goodbye, Lorana. Ooh, bit of lag. Not sure why that happened. It's all of our friends. Let's talk to Body Knock first and just go around the oh, no, Arabeth's coming to me.
Please, it is good to see you here in Port Llast, my friend. If we are to have any luck in tracking down this strange cult behind the plague, it will be with your aid, I am sure. I do not know how much you have been told about Lord Nash's orders. I shall help you understand whatever I can, certainly.
What exactly are Lord Nash's orders?
You know, of course, that Dester and Fenthic were associated with some manner of religious cult that was behind the wailing death in the city. We know so little about this cult, and it would be foolish in the extreme to suppose that simply because their activities in Neverwinter have been stopped, that they have been defeated. Lord Nasher commands that we track down the headquarters of this cult and discover their plans and stop them before another atrocity is committed. Erin Gend, Lord Nasher's spy master, is here in Port Llast to help us do this, and has brought reports of many strange activities throughout the northern lands. It is possible that agents of the cult may be behind some of these activities. If so, we may be able to find them and discover where their base is located. Your aid in this will prove invaluable.
I have questions about the mission.
Of course. Ask what you will of me.
What are you and Erin Gend going to be doing while I search?
I am here to see that Lord Nash's commands are carried out, while Erin continues to use his network of spies to gain more information beyond Neverwinter's walls. Admittedly, my own role seems sparse. Part of me thinks that my Lord Nasher simply wishes someone he trusts in this role, while another believes he does not wish to be reminded of Fenthic or my pain. Regardless, we will do all that we can to help you. Do not think your efforts go unrecognized.
How do you propose I look for this cult?
Erin has several ideas on places where the cult may be hidden. Currently, he is working on finding a way into the city of Luskan. Its gates have been sealed since the plague in Neverwinter began. I suggest you talk to Erin about where these places might be. Search for any clues about the rise of ancient cults or odd activities. Once a way into Luskan is found, you can search there as well. If we are fortunate, you will perhaps encounter some part of the cult and gain information as to who they are and where they are based.
What should I do if I discover something?
Any information you discover should be brought to Erin and myself. Once we know more about the cult, Lord Nasher can decide what to do next.
Why are we not searching more in Neverwinter?
The search does continue within the city. Indeed, Lord Nasher is having Neverwinter scoured thoroughly for more traces of the cult. It is his feeling, however, that the true force of the cult lies outside of Neverwinter, and that it is your efforts here that will prove the most valuable.
Just what do we know about this cult?
Dester appears to have been their link in Neverwinter, as you discovered. But of the cult itself, we have been able to ascertain little. Erin is positive that its true heart lies outside of Neverwinter, and that it has yet to show us the extent of its strength. The task ahead of us will no doubt be most dangerous, but that makes it all the more necessary that we do not remain ignorant of what this cult is and what it intends. Certainly.
How are you feeling? This must be a terrible strain.
My strain should not surprise you. My only love lies dead, and while it was my lawful lord who executed him, his true murderers remain beyond my reach. I wish, with such fervor that it frightens me, to see those allies of Desta pay, to see Tyr visit them with terrible justice. I am a paladin of Tyr, sworn to uphold good and justice, yet somehow I cannot condemn Fenthic in my heart. He meant only to do what he saw was his duty, I am sure of it.
Everyone can make a mistake, even for the best reasons. Fenthic was a fool to follow his duty so blindly. It's very sad what happened to him. I'm sorry for your loss. Don't be so naive. Not everyone is caught up in duty as good as you. Even a paladin has a heart, Airbeth. You can't be the avatar of justice at all times. Don't let your feelings blind you to the truth about Fenthic. I don't really have anything more to say about that. How about... Yes, I'm sorry for your loss.
I thank you. That is kind of you to say. My own loss seems insignificant, however, compared to Fenthic's disgrace.
I mean, it's not insignificant to Fenthic. He's suffering the same loss, much more direly than you are, so...
No, but I should not be distracting you from your task. My own problems are unimportant and of no interest to you, I am sure. Please, forgive me.
No, go on. Tell me what you're going to say.
It is just that Fenthic's fate could have been mine, or yours, or anyone's. How do you know that the path you walk is the correct one? I have never questioned my faith or my duty before, but neither did Fenthic. I feel doubt, and I am ashamed to admit it. Perhaps I am merely wallowing in my sorrow. Perhaps I know my path better than I think I do, but I am no longer sure. Is it wrong for me to think such thoughts?
It is never wrong to question. What's important are your answers.
Yet I have no answers, only more questions. Thank you for allowing me to unburden my heart, but perhaps it is best if I put these thoughts out of my head for now. The safety of Neverwinter relies on your mission, and my duty regarding that is more than clear. Let us speak of that instead.
Do you have any advice for me?
I would suggest you speak to Erengend and find out where to focus your efforts in finding evidence of the cult.
Sure thing. Lady Erebeth has moved the base of her investigations to the township of Port Llast, northernmost member of the Lord's Alliance. There, she has once again put out the call to adventurers to seek out the cult's corruption where it may lie. The cult's base must be discovered and its leaders brought to justice. Standing guard over Erebeth at the local mercenary barracks is Erengend, spy master in the service of the Alliance. She has encouraged all adventurers to work closely with him in the ongoing search of the region. Erebeth has confessed some of her anxieties and anger of the death of Fenthic to you. She cannot seem to shake the feeling that Fenthic's execution was unjust and meant only to appease the angry citizens of Neverwinter. Erebeth will continue her tale when you have reached a higher level of experience. Hell yes. Let's talk to Erengend.
Hail, friend. You were instrumental in ridding Neverwinter of the wailing death, I understand. Allow me to congratulate you on a job well done. You have shown yourself to be possessed of remarkable courage and resourcefulness. That is fortuitous, for both these qualities will be needed if you are to complete your mission. But that is not how we should begin. I am known as Erengend, and I have served our Lord Nasher for some time. Hopefully, I may be of similar use to you now.
Pleased to meet you.
Indeed. I know who you are. There are many who whisper your name right now. and it is my business to listen to them all. My place lies in the shadows. I have many eyes and ears throughout the northern lands, and it is my place to inform Lord Nasher where the Vipers lay in wait. If only I had foreseen the actions of this cult, I could have prevented the disaster. But these men move skillfully out of my sight and hearing. Instead of recriminating myself for my failure, I must do what I can to repair the damage. And that is to offer what information I have to you, so that you may find where this new nest of vipers hides. Erebeth has informed you of where you must search, yes? She has told you of how you may root out these fiends?
She said you would explain the details.
Unearthing the cult will not be a simple task. What few whispers I have collected, however, have allowed me to narrow your search to this region. It is vital that the cult's exact location be found, and that we are certain any leads we discover are not attempts at deception. Erebeth will not be satisfied until we find at least 2 separate leads that point to the same locale. That is your task. I do know of one possible lead for you. There has been strange news regarding a series of caves that lie north of Port Llast. Investigation may reveal the cult to be hidden there. If not, there are other avenues for you to investigate. The city of Luskan to the north, Neverwinter Wood to the east, and the wildlands of the South Road.
We're actually not going to be turning in the evidence of the cult as we get it, because he just said we only need 2, but there's 3 areas, and I want to hit them all.
I suggest, however, that looking into the caves first would still be your wisest choice.
We're gonna go caves, Neverwinter Wood, Coldwood, or Charwood, or whichever one it is. Tell me about the caves.
The caves are in the hills to the north of Port Llast, near the Green Griffin Inn. They have long been used by humanoid tribes of orcs, bugbears, and the like. They aren't usually a concern. In recent months, however, I have received word that these various humanoid creatures have been raiding the roads south of Luskan. This would not be unusual, except that the creatures now seem very organized and, I hear, are being led by humans.
Yeah.
This leads me to believe the cult may be involved. That will be for you to determine. Just keep this in mind. No matter what you find there, Erebeth will wish 2 firm leads on the cult's location before she will act. We cannot afford a mistake. Have you a question for me then, my friend?
I want to know about the other places I should search.
As you wish.
Tell me of
I will
Luskan.
certainly tell you all I know about the other places you may need to search.
Tell me about Luskan.
Aye, a city of pirates and base villainy. The city itself will be closed to you now, but it will be worth your while to go in that direction anyway. You should seek out the humanoid caves by the Green Griffin.
Why is Luskan closed?
Their gates have been sealed ever since the plague began in Neverwinter, I'm afraid. The city is quite anarchic. An outbreak there would be devastating indeed. I have been attempting to pull what strings I can to convince officials in Luskan that the plague is over, but I am having little luck so far. Before the gates closed, there were rumors of battles in the streets in Luskan. Who knows what transpires there? With luck, I will soon arrange you a way inside to investigate.
How do I reach Luskan?
The road north will lead you along the coast and directly to the city's gates. As I said, getting into the city will be more of a problem than reaching it. I will attempt to remedy that as soon as possible.
Tell me what you know of the city.
It is known as the City of Sails, home to pirates and far worse ilk, and ruled by 5 high captains who maintain an uneasy balance of power. True power, however, lies in the hands of the mages of the Arcane Brotherhood, within the Host Tower. Even I know little of these men. The city is powerful, anarchic, and dangerous. Luskan has challenged the Lord's alliance more than once. Be careful when you walk its streets, for many within see strangers as easy prey.
Why do you think the cultists might be in Luskan?
Evil men are common as coins in Luskan, my friend. This cult could walk the streets unnoticed and find many allies who would heed gold above all else. The fact that the city remains sealed even now that the plague has ended, and so little word escapes its walls, has me worried of what events transpire there. Additionally, I have been troubled by reports of humanoid banditry taking place on the road between Neverwinter and Luskan. This is unusual, and while it may simply be caused by Luskan's ignorance, it should be investigated.
I have more questions.
As you wish.
Tell me the Neverwinter
I
wood.
will certainly. One of the deepest and most ancient woods of the north, my friend. It is filled with life both beautiful and dangerous, and is tended to by the Order of Druids.
How do I get a Neverwinter wood?
Follow the road east of Port Llast. The lands are wild and sparsely populated there. And when you reach the boundaries of the Great Forest, you will know.
What do you know about the place?
Like Neverwinter, the forest is warmed by the magically heated waters of the river that runs through it. It is a grand and beautiful place, I am told. Few journey through its boundaries, however, as it is said that the wood has a life of its own and is unwelcoming to outsiders. The druids of the wood, watched over by the archdruid Awil, are aware of all that passes within their charge. It is my hope that they can provide you aid.
Why do you think the cultists might be there?
The archdruid Awil has sent several letters to Lord Nasher as of late, begging for aid against some unknown force that assails the wood. Lord Nasher would have provided the help the archdruid required, but could not, due to the chaos within the city. Neverwinter must come first. Awil has sent no more messages in recent days, and it is possible that the druids exist no more. The exact danger that was being faced was not explained. This cult may not even be involved.
Of course it's involved. It's always
It
involved.
may, however. So this may be an excellent avenue for you to search. Whatever has occurred, my friend, expect the worst.
I want to know about the other places I should search.
As you wish.
Tell me about the
I
South
will
Road.
certainly. The road leads eventually home to
Charwood.
Neverwinter. But before that lay many miles of wildlands, as well as the village of Charwood. The cult could hide in many places there.
Charwood is my favorite part of the game. How do I get to the South Road?
The southern road is not so much a
You go
place
south,
you'll go
that's
to, my
how.
friend, as it is a route you take. It will lead you eventually to Neverwinter, but it is the region itself that concerns me.
What do you know about
Very little. There has been little news from the village of Charwood for many years, I understand. It may have been deserted for all I can tell. Ruins will be common, and it is said that other, stranger creatures may have made these wildlands their home. A powerful wizard is even said to have taken residence.
Why do you think the cultists might be there?
I have no reports from this area. None. This disturbs me perhaps more than it should, as the cult could exist openly here, and I would not even know. I offer the South Road as a possibility mostly out of speculation, my friend. I simply would not wish to leave it out entirely, just in case my suspicions have good reason.
Well, Charwood's my favorite part of the game, so we're definitely going to Charwood.
As you wish.
Tell me about Port
I will
Llast.
certainly. There are locals who could tell you more of this town, my friend. My knowledge of it is limited.
Would it be possible to hire help here?
Perhaps. I am told there is a
around.
barracks for mercenaries within the settlement. If you desire to hire assistance, inquire there.
Lady Arbeth has arranged for the hiring of several skilled adventurers. They are here with us. If you require their aid, you need only ask one of them. What, do you think cult activity might be here?
I did my best to investigate Port Llast before we made our base here, my friend. But what you suggest is not impossible. There may have been things ongoing in this place which escaped my notice. An investigation on your part is not without merit. As you wish. I will
don't need to
certainly.
know
Have
anything
you a
else about
question
them.
for me then, my friend?
I'd rather talk about
Aye.
something else.
What would you have of me?
What will you be doing?
I still serve as Lord Nasher's master of spies, my friend. And his need for proper information is more vital now than
He's
even
Varys.
before.
He's Varys from Game of Thrones, is basically who Aaron Gend
My
is.
ear must remain to the ground, even if my efforts must be coordinated from here, rather than deeper in the shadows. I shall continue to seek word on the cult that might aid your quest, though I have my doubts in that. You will have far more success than I think.
What's the situation in Neverwinter?
Grim. Lord Nasher reports that many of our armed forces have perished from the plague, and even more are needed to restore order to the city. The worst is perhaps over now that the plague is cured, but still we reel from a crippling blow. It will be some time before things return to what they were. What do you wish? What would you have of me?
How did you become a spy master for Lord Nasher?
That is a curious question, my friend. Nor does it have a simple answer if the truth be known, and is not a tale that I care to often tell.
I still like to hear the tale.
As you wish, my friend. Though I'll not be held responsible should you nod off during the telling of it.
Let me see. Perhaps it is best if I ask you a question
That
first.
hurt my neck to do.
You are a person of great fighting prowess, are you not? How is it that you came into your calling? Was it an accident? Was it born purely of talent? Do you believe you were fated to be what you are?
Well, in her actual canon from my story, her father taught her how to fight because he knew that the life of a tiefling would get her attacked a lot. So he made her learn how to fight. I didn't mean to take this path, but here I am.
Aye, and no doubt the same could be said for many. Few know that the path they start upon will lead where it does. I myself started life as a slave in the southern deserts of Kalimshan. Never would I have foreseen that I might become who I am today. I knew of the lush and wild jungles of my homeland, Chult, only through the bedtime tales of my mother. I have never laid eyes upon its shore. My mother was owned by a most vicious and cruel caliph. As a slave child, one learns to stay out of sight and to move silently, lest one be beaten. Moreover, I learned to listen. I listened to the chatter of the servants, the bored talk of the guards. For many, many years, I was the shadow in the caliph's halls. For all my hiding, however, I proved of no use to anyone but myself. I could not save my mother when the caliph beat her to death for spilling a tankard of his mead, for instance.
You were a child. What could you have done?
I blamed myself regardless, as the young often do. In grief and anger, I stabbed and killed the caliph, and was subsequently chased into the streets of Kalimpor.
Good, he deserved it.
I am not proud of what I did. It is very easy to say that the man deserved it. Deserved it more than my mother did, at the very least. Who am I to say that this is so, however? I was no righteous judge that day. I acted out of retribution and became a wanted murderer, in truth. There is no denying that. I fled into the shadows of the city, and was not alone there. I found many who I will call allies and not friends, for we acted in unison only to survive. The law pursued me, so always I remained hidden and listened as I once had. The fact that I was a thief to remain alive did not help. And eventually, even the shadows of the city were no longer safe for me. I sought passage out of the city, and eventually a captain took pity on me and gave me a position aboard his ship. Perhaps you have heard of Randall the Red?
I think so. You became a pirate.
Randall the Red deserved his reputation as a violent and cunning pirate of the Sword Coast. While I joined his crew, I was not a pirate as you think of it. I was not fond of drink as the other sailors were, and instead spent my time at each port making new contacts and listening. Over the years, Randall grew to depend on my skill. He gave me gold to establish informants throughout the coast, and I heard news the instant it happened. It was I who kept Randall safe and one step ahead of his pursuers, for always would I know before the chase was on us.
Sounds like a good living.
I was not truly a pirate. I was his master of spies, though I did not put a name to what I did. And while Randall was indeed a pirate, he was an easy man to like. I was not fond of the looting and pillaging Randall indulged in, and did my best to subtly steer him away from the worst of it. Randall knew what I was doing, and permitted it only because I was otherwise invaluable to him. He cared not if I cringed and turned a cheek when the crew plied the worst of their bloody trade. As the years passed, I came into a certain amount of my own fame along the Sword Coast. My life was my life, and I was satisfied with it, and discharged my duty as best I knew. It was not until I encountered Lord Nasher that my life would change forever. That, however, is another tale. Ask me of it sometime, my friend.
Thank you for telling me.
And thank you for listening. As I said, it is not a tale I tell often. Back to more important matters. Is there
No,
some...
I'm gonna be going.
I shall hope that the gods keep you safe, my friend.
Oh, we are 25 minutes into the video, so... And we still have to talk to all the companions. Oh, Eringen has explained that the best lead for locating the cult lies to the north of Port Llast, in a series of caves that lie in the hills. They are inhabited by humanoid monsters that have been performing unusual raids. Should this avenue of investigation not prove worthwhile, the spy master suggested either Luskin to the north, Neverwinter Wood to the east, or the wildlands of the south roads. Two separate and corroborating pieces of evidence are needed to prove the cult's location. Aaron's tale. The mysterious Eringen has told you a great deal of his earlier life and how he became Lord Nash's spy master, though his tale is not yet finished. Cool. Alright. Body knock.
Good to see you again, though in actual fact I cannot say I am really surprised.
When I heard Erebeth was recruiting people in aid to aid in the search for the cult behind the Wailing Death, it was a simple logical leap to assume you would be one of those recruited. What are you doing here, Body Knock? When we parted ways, Violet, I meant to continue my exploration of the north, but then I heard Erebeth was recruiting mercenaries to join in the search for the cult behind the plague. You may have discovered a cure for the plague and flushed out those behind it, Violet, but the process by which the Wailing Death was spawned has not yet been determined. Given my scientific interest in the plague and my desire to ensure it never happens again, my desire to ensure it is never again unleashed upon Faerun, it was only logical that I answer Erebeth's call for our aid. So you were conscripted into service by Erebeth? When Erebeth recruited the mercenaries, we were all paid in advance for our services. Well paid. Lord Nasher spared no expense in tracking down these cultists. Our instructions were simply to make ourselves available to whomever required our assistance. So in that spirit, is there anything I can do for you? Have you heard of any rumors about cult activity since you've come here? I've heard people claiming the cult has a base in the plains to the south. Others insist there is undeniable evidence for the cult in the forest to the east, and still others swear the cult is hiding in the city of Luskin to the north. Obviously, such rumors and hearsay are of little value. I prefer to put my faith in hard, empirical evidence. Evidence I can observe with my own two eyes. As yet, I found no evidence I consider reliable. You must have an opinion on where to start looking. I don't think you understand. Without proper data to analyze my evaluation of the situation would result in a hypothesis with an unacceptable margin of error. Naturally, I have formed some preliminary theories, but if I were to venture any opinion on the matter, I would be nothing more than a complete and utter guess. So guess, Body Knock. Sometimes you've got to play a hunch. A hunch? You're a strange woman, Violet. But I suppose if I were forced to make a guess, I would say we should start our search in the Neverwinter Wood, and to the southeast of Port Llast. Why there? Roots, herbs, and other flora grow in abundance in the forest, many of which can be used to heal a variety of illnesses. It's only logical to assume that such plants could also be used to bring sickness and death. Plus, the woods are shunned by most civilized people. They believe they are haunted. It makes a perfect place for a secret hideout for a large group. Neverwinter Woods seems to be the only place that has provided the seclusion and materials that would have been necessary for the cult to bring about the Wailing Death. At least that's my best guess. I could use a sorcerer. You seem to have solid reasons for a guess. As I said, I had a preliminary hypothesis. However, I would not be at all surprised to find my theory about the Neverwinter Wood to be wrong. So, are you going to investigate the woods? I am an accomplished sorcerer, Violet, but I also have a realistic understanding of my own limitations. Surviving the wilds of this region alone would be a challenge that surpasses my capabilities. Besides, Erebeth has hired us so that we may serve and assist others who are more suited to heroism and great deeds. You are well known here. If I were to accompany you, I'm certain my skills would be of some use. I could use the sorcerer, Body Knock. Then I will be glad to join your cause. It is an honor to serve with a hero such as you. I'll follow you and perform to the best of my abilities according to the orders you have given me. Anytime you wish to issue new orders, you only have to speak to me again.
Is there something you need?
I do want to change your tactics. Do not assist me. I don't want to change anything else.
Is there something you need?
I want to talk. If we're going to be traveling together, I'd like to know a little more about you. As you know, I come from Lanton, an island renowned for its inventions and scientific advances. From that, you can rightly conclude that I myself am of an analytical and curious nature. You also know that I am a sorcerer, and that you can no doubt draw further conclusions, though in all truth my chosen profession is rather uncommon among the Lantanese culture. Why are sorcerers so uncommon in Lantan? The mysteries of the arcane are not as eagerly sought out in my homeland as they are in other places. We have inventions to accomplish many of the things that others would rely on magic to perform. In my homeland, there is no shame attached to what I do. It is merely seen as unusual, though I will admit it is not the future my father envisioned for me. I was his eldest son, and I suppose my father wanted me to follow in his own footsteps. But flowers, plants, and gardens never held much of an interest for me. Your father, what was he, a druid? Druids worship nature, Violet, but we in Lantern seek to control and direct nature, to extract that which is useful and remove that which is harmful. Agronomy is a well-respected field in Lantan, and my father was one of the finest horticulturalists in the island. His pioneering research in cross-pollination and grafting techniques was responsible for the creation of 26 unique species of plant. Because my father's work in Lantan's agricultural yields increased, as did the island's supply of medicinal herbs, and the beauty and variety of our flowering species is unparalleled anywhere on the mainland. Sounds like a great man. A finer gnome you could not be found the length and breadth of Faerun, Violet. I suppose that is why I find the gulf that has grown between us so painful to accept. What do you mean? My father and I had a falling out. Please, Violet, this is difficult for me to speak of. I'm not sure I wish to discuss this with you right now. Perhaps later I will be in a mood to speak more of my tale, but for now we should focus on your mission. The cult responsible for the Wailing Death must be found. Bodyknock's tale. Bodyknock started telling of his father in Lantan, a horticulturist of great repute, though it is obvious the recollection is an uncomfortable one for him. Bodyknock will continue his tale at a higher level of experience. Where is someone else? Linu.
Hello. I had hoped that you would show up here, my friend. I heard that Erebeth recruited you to stamp out the evil cult that was responsible for the plague.
What a pleasant surprise. I thought we had parted ways for good, Violet, but the goddess has her own plans that I must follow. I went back to the Trade of Blades to prepare myself for a journey home. I was only there a few hours when I was approached by Lady Erebeth on behalf of Lord Nasher himself. She told me that Lord Nasher was determined to root out the cult that brought so much suffering to his city. He has ordered all the mercenaries in Neverwinter to come to Port Llast to join in the search. I was afraid I might have missed you while I was changing my clothes. Changing your clothes? Oh, when I came in here, a waitress spilled some drinks. She soaked your clothes? Well, no, I bumped into her, and when the drinks crashed down, I leapt backwards into a dwarf, knocking over his ale and stew. So that messed you up. No, the food and drinks landed on the floor, but the dwarf crashed into a half-orc, causing the knife he was eating with to slice open his cheek. That's when the brawl started. So you wrecked your outfit in the brawl. I managed to stay out of the brawl, hiding under a table and feeling awfully guilty. When the fight was over, I felt I should help clean up the mess. So you got dirty cleaning up. No, I wore an apron and managed to stay pretty clean. Then I stepped outside for a breath of fresh air and slipped into a mud puddle. So then I had to go change. Why didn't you just tell me you slipped in a mud puddle from the start? I think I'll go somewhere else now, maybe to a nice safe dragon lair. I didn't want you to think I was clumsy. I'm waiting here at the orders of Lady Erebeth. So you're working for Erebeth. Lord Nasher ordered all mercenaries to come to Port Llast to help discover the whereabouts of the cult that nearly destroyed the city. I spent weeks wearing myself out trying to ease the suffering of the plague victims. I jumped at the opportunity to bring the culprits to justice. Have you heard any rumors of the cult since you've come here? I haven't heard anything specific about the cult, but I have heard there's some trouble around Neverwinter Wood. Neverwinter Wood? I don't know very much, but apparently there was a ranger in town here that was telling of animals savagely attacking anyone in or around the woods. Having failed to destroy us with this terrible disease, it would hardly shock me to find the cult had struck with the plague of vicious animals. Is there anything else I can help you with? Are you planning to travel there? I'm not much of an investigator. I have been ordered to travel with anyone who has need of a healer. You are the one who knows how to solve mysteries, Violet. I would love to help you, though. I have strong abilities in the art of healing, and I also can stand on my own in a fight. I would be a valuable resource to your quest. I am often in need of a skilled healer. Join me. would be a great pleasure, Violet. I look forward to adventuring with you. I will follow you and perform the best of my abilities according to the orders you have given me. Yep.
Hey there, dear. What can I do for you?
I want you to not help me. And I want you to heal me if I become wounded, 50%. Because if I'm getting hit, I'm probably going to drop further. Although the healing doesn't seem to work very well.
Hey there, dear.
Tell me, how do you like being an adventurer? I always wanted to be an adventurer, Violet. I have a natural curiosity about everything, and I wanted to experience those things I read in books. But I am from Everesca, the home of philosophers, mages, and scholars, and students of the mysteries. Adventurous souls are few, and they are often looked down upon. Except one. Oh, who's that? Synth Lanarel. That's your name. Lanarel was a handsome, charismatic, intelligent, adventurous archaeologist. He was respected within Everesca and other intellectual circles in places like Waterdeep. He was considered the most eligible bachelor in Everesca. And you managed to hook him? Don't sound so shocked. You sure know how to make a woman feel special, don't you? Actually, I didn't like him at first. I was reading a text on the ancient race one night in the temple library. The author was writing about his adventures seeking lost relics in exotic, dangerous locales. I slammed the book on the table, calling the author a lying, pompous fool. Another elf was sitting on a chair near me with his face in a book. He asked me what I was reading. I told him the name of the book, and he laughed. In my youthful arrogance, I went on to list a large number of errors in the author's logic. Was it really that bad? When I finished, he began to refute every point I'd made. I quickly discovered, Synth Lanarel. When I realized the mistake I'd made, I'd screamed and ran from the room. Despite my blundering, I must have made an impression on him, for he pursued me from that day on. Eventually, he won my heart, though only through an act that almost cost him his life. What did he do? Let us not talk of such things right now, sweet Violet. We must hunt down the cult responsible for the Wailing Death. Perhaps we can speak of this later, when the time is right. Lena began a tale of how she met her husband Synth, a famous explorer. I see a Sharwin.
So, we meet again. The others had told me Erebeth had recruited you to find cultists. I can't say I'm surprised. You've acquired quite the reputation for yourself, haven't you?
I'm surprised to see you here, Sharwin. And why is that? Just because we went our separate ways in Neverwinter, I'm supposed to disappear off the face of Faerun. If you haven't noticed, there's a shortage of good adventurers. Lady Erebeth approached me at the Trade of Blades to hire me on Lord Nasher's behalf. Just as you were, I imagine. It looks to me like Lord Nasher is pulling out all the stops to find this cult. The search in Neverwinter is immense, and we mercenaries have been sent to Port Llast to join the effort with you and Erebeth. Lucky us. So you're conscripted into service. I have been paid good coin for my services by Lord Nasher, actually. It's another chance to acquire some fame, in my eyes, even though I've been told to merely offer my assistance to you and Erebeth for now. So do you need my help? Do you have any information on the cult behind the Wailing Death? The cult could be practically anywhere. You may want to look in the hills by the Green Griffin Inn. I've heard many tales of monsters raiding the roads nearby in force. Monsters. Bugbears and orcs, mostly. Apparently they were being directed by some humans, however, which would make it quite odd. At any rate, since Luskan is wrapped up in its own concerns, the countryside has been open season for banditry. These monsters, however, are more organized than normal. I could use someone by my side. Alright.
Yes? Is there something you need?
I don't want you to assist me. And I want you to heal me if I become wounded.
Yes?
And I want to talk for a while. I'd like to know more about you. Mine is no great tale, Violet. If you like, I could tell you of my beginnings as a bard. Yes, tell me that. Well, let's see. I learned the majority of my trade from Danon, my partner and my love. It was he who took me away from Neverwinter and my family. We were a team, a singing duo who earned our keep in taverns, traveling from town to town along the Sword Coast. We would camp off the roads, and I would listen in awe as Danon told me of the old legends by the firelight. I loved him more as each night passed. So why aren't you with him now? An excellent question. At the time, I didn't think anything could separate us. He was my first, you see, and my belief in our love was absolute. It turned out that those times were the best. I should have cherished them more, for things were quickly about to get much worse. The fateful day came when we crossed into, in the south. We received a rather sudden and unexpected invitation to sing before one of the wealthiest courts in Atkatla. This was bad news? Well, Danon was positive that our long months of playing in taverns had caught someone's attention, that we were being rewarded. He was overjoyed. Myself, I was hesitant. I was not so sure of our abilities, so questioning the motives behind this invitation was far easier. I urged Danon to ignore the invitation, but naturally he would have none of it. It was the beginning of an end for us, really, though I did not know it. Perhaps it is a story I shall tell you sometime. I'll hold you to that promise. I didn't promise anything. Perhaps I'll tell you about it. Perhaps not. We shall see. Come, let us adventure more. It will lift my spirits some, I think. I'm going to leave you to dwell in Danon, actually. Sharwyn told me the story of her early experiences after leaving home and learning the trade of a bard. Grimna.
We meet again. I taste a storm of slaughter on the air. I'm not surprised to find you here at the center of the whirlwind.
My favorite gruff-voiced dwarf. What are you doing here, Grimna? When we parted ways, Violet, I meant to return to the Order, but I bow to the Silent Lord, and I discovered I could best serve his will by staying in Neverwinter for the time being. I am eager to find and slaughter those who unleashed the wailing death upon Neverwinter. Thousands were taken by the disease. Oh, fuck. His voice. Their essence stolen from the grasp of true death. That was why I answered Lord Nasher's desperate call for mercenaries to come to Port Llast. He is also anxious to root out those behind the wailing death. You were conscripted. When Erebeth recruited the mercenaries, we were all paid in advance for our services. Well paid. That's the line someone else said. Our instructions were simply to make ourselves available to whomever requires our assistance. So in that spirit, is there anything I can do for you? Do you have any information? Their location is well hidden. However, I would not be surprised to learn they are connected with the village of Charwood. The town has isolated itself from the rest of the world, even to the far to the south of Port Llast. Few outside my order even remember such a place exists. The town is a strange place. There's a foul taint upon it that we of the Long Death can feel. None of the emissaries of my order sent south to investigate Charwood has ever returned. It would not surprise me to discover links to the cult behind the Wailing Death in that unnatural place. Is there anything else more I can do for you? I could use a monk by my side. Then together we shall sow death and destruction throughout the land in our quest to destroy those behind the Wailing Death.
Is there something you need?
I need you to not assist me. And I need to talk to you. I'd like to know more about you. I am a monk of the Order of the Long Death, Violet. I am defined by the customs, tenets, and beliefs of my order. Simply put, I worship death. Understand, I care nothing for the petty gods who squabble over and lay claim to death's portfolio. For I serve death itself, the silent lord who rules us all. Tell me more about your order, Grimna. We of the Long Death train, study, and serve our masters. We strive to transcend the earthly world through mental discipline and philosophical understanding of death. We worship the very essence of the Silent Lord, and we honor the tools that prepare us for our inevitable, inescapable end. Pain, suffering, torment, agony. Our beliefs are difficult for most to accept, and the Order of the Long Death has many powerful enemies. What kind of enemies are you talking about? Our embrace of the Silent Lord has brought us into conflict with many who do not understand the beauty of death. Many fear their mortal end. For most, we will simply use pain, anguish, torture, and suffering to release them from this fear. We will prepare them for the cold embrace of the Silent Lord. But there are some who go to extremes to avoid their fate. They use foul rituals and dark necromancy to deny the Silent Lord that which is his due. You're talking about the undead, right? Liches and zombies and the like? The undead are a foul abomination, a denial of the natural order. We of the Long Death are in constant conflict with necromancers and their minions. I have seen firsthand the horrors of a war with the undead, Violet. What do you mean? This is not the time to speak of such things. We must focus on rooting out the cult responsible for the Wailing Death. Perhaps we can speak of this later. But the time is right. Oh, fuck. Ow. My throat. Grimna related several details of the Order of the Long Death, including the reason behind their great hatred of the undead. Well, you didn't really have to think too hard to figure out why an order worshipping death would dislike undead. Kendrak. We need to talk to Kendrak.
It is a pleasure to see you again, though not altogether unexpected. I had heard that Erebeth recruited you to stamp out the foul cult that was responsible for the plague.
Surprised to see you here, Dalen. I know we went our separate ways, Violet, but it seems the gods have seen fit to bring us together once more. After we parted ways in Neverwinter, I returned to the Trade of Blades to offer my skills for hire. It was there I was approached by Lady Erebeth on behalf of Lord Nasher himself. It seems Lord Nasher is determined to root out the cult that brought so much suffering to his city. He has offered all the mercenaries in Neverwinter to come to Port Llast to join in the search. I'm sorry, Grimdal's voice hurt me. It got very low in my throat, so I keep yawning. When Erebeth recruited the mercenaries, we were all paid in advance for... Okay, I've heard this line before. Do you have any information? I've heard nothing of the cult, though many suspect, as do I, that the answers might be found in the city of Luskan. Luskan. The city has long been an enemy of Neverwinter, an evil blight upon the north that is widely acknowledged as the home of murderers and thieves, a place with no honor. It would not surprise me to discover links to the cult in this den of evil. Is there anything else I can help you with? I could use a good fighter, but you died. Which means it's Tommy's turn.
Yes? Is there something you need?
But I do want to change your tactics, because it don't help me.
Yes?
I want to talk. I want to know more about you. There are no great secrets about me, Violet. I am what I am. My father was an orc, and my mother was an Uthgard of the Red Tiger tribe. I know nothing of my father. My mother would never speak of him, but I was raised among the Red Tiger tribe and the customs and traditions of the Uthgard people. I do not know what more I can tell you. Tell me about the Uthgard, about your customs and traditions. We, Uthgard, are a simple but noble people. We hunt the herds and live off the land. We worship the gods of our ancestors and the totems of our tribe. Some in the cities fear us, call us bloodthirsty savages, but they are ignorant of our ways. We are fierce warriors with great courage and honor, even if they do not understand. What was it like for you growing up? I will not lie, I was never allowed to forget about my father's tainted orc blood. Yet, if the tribe did not embrace me, at least they tolerated me. Like the other young boys of the tribe, I ran and climbed and swam and grew strong. I learned to hunt and fish. I learned the lore of our tribe, and most importantly, I learned the honor of a warrior. With my mother's death, the time came for me to prove myself worthy of the tribe. I left in search of glory and honor in the outside world, to prove my spirit was true. I went to Luskan. Why'd you go to Luskan? It was the closest city to our tribe, though I knew nothing of its foul, rotten character. If I had, I would not have gone. I've tried to forget my time in that accursed city, Violet. The memories were not pleasant. This is not the time to speak of such things, Violet. We must focus on rooting out the cult responsible for the Wailing Death. Perhaps we can speak of this later, when the time is right. Dalen related his tale of leaving his tribe to prove himself in the world, and arriving at the cesspool city that is Luskan. Tommy, my man, you're up.
Well now, if it isn't you! Glad I am to see you. Isn't the country wonderful this time of year? So much better than the city with all that, burning and dying. You know.
Surprised to see you. Yeah, well, what's a halfling supposed to do? Me, I go where the money is. After you and I went our separate ways, Miss Erebeth there approached me and gave me plenty of money to hop along on this pony ride of hers. We're all supposed to help with the search. Seems like Lord Nasher wants to get rid of the cult who started this fight. I say good for him. Just goes to show that not all people are useless and should be killed, you know? I've already been paid by Miss Erebeth. A good coin, too, I might add. You'd think this Nasher fellow belched gold at will. I was just told that I'm supposed to help out whenever I can. How sweet and unspecific is that? I don't suppose you actually want something, do you? You have any information? Nothing more than anyone, no. He asked me. Luskan's the place to look. Oh, aye. The city is pirates and thieves galore. Anyone with any kind of bad reputation is more than welcome there, I assure you. Been there more than a few times myself. What better place for a frog to hide than amongst toads? Not that I've ever had any evidence to back that up or anything. Well, isn't it a coincidence that I happen to be a good rogue? Fine, this one rabbit town was beginning to bore me anyway.
Eh? What can Tommy do for you?
Do not help me. I guess if you think you don't need my help.
Eh?
I want to talk.
What can Tommy do for...
I want to know more about you. Well, there's only so much about you can know about me, my lady. Tommy under gallows, it'd be the most famous halfling rogue in all of Calimport. That about sums it up. Oh, I've my tales of treachery and deceit, the likes of which have been told to wide-eyed little Calimshite children for many years. But I doubt you'd be interested in that. Oh, go on, you know you want to tell me. Well, let's see. Tommy's had a bunch of friends and a bunch of enemies in his time. There's only been one who's been both. My arch-nemesis, Samuel Bumbleheart. Sammy and I were pals dating back to the good old days when we used to run wild through the streets as wee little urchins, stealing avocados and pinching purses. When I started to gain a bit of notoriety on my own, however, Sammy became a mite jealous. Poor lad. Fame was always Sammy's thing. He always loved attention. Ever since he did that striptease in the half-orc bar to keep from being pummeled, I always thought he was a bit of a diva. You seem to rather enjoy fame yourself. Nah, not so much. Bit hard to pick a pocket when you have 20 suspicious eyes on you. Great with the lasses, I'll admit. Sammy was content for a while, but he'd get mad when folks always recognized me first. The guards would chase me down on the street and he'd complain, why didn't they chase me? Oh, he tried to show me up as a thief, not being very good, however, it only landed him in prison. In Calimshan, that means you're as good as hung. I busted him out the first time, but that only embarrassed him. No good deed goes unpunished, you know, so Sammy had to take action. You'd think he'd be thankful for the help. Well, the truth is, I didn't really mean to break him out. It was an accident, the kind that brings down half the prison and causes a mass escape. Happens all the time, trust me. I don't know why Sammy was so mad, really. He just seemed to lose it completely. It was all that shouting and turning red in the face. It was just so sad. After all, he'd only broken a couple of legs. He could still walk, even if it was with a limp. Could I be held completely to blame? At any rate, Sammy decided enough was enough. It was time to ruin his best pal Tommy once and for all. What'd he do? Sammy came up with a plan. Not the brightest plan, I suppose. He never was much of a planner. His last plan, in fact, was a heist that ended with him being left naked and cold on a trip to Mastika. Well, alright, I did forget to go pick him up, but it was his plan. This plan would be different, however. Or so we thought. I'll have to tell you about it sometime, my lady. Tommy began to tell of his exploits in Calimsham, focusing on his nemesis at the time, Samuel Bumbleheart. We're already an hour in, so we're just gonna go around and pick up all the quests I'm aware of. And I know that Kendrak is one of them. Kendrak.
Eh? I suppose you're here to sign up, are you? I've no time for a new apprentice, however, so off you go.
Sign up for what? For the Bloody Mercenaries Guild, of course. Isn't that why you've come? Unless you're not here for training. Well, now that I've placed you, you're one of the folk who came with Lady Erebeth, aren't you? From Neverwinter. My apologies, lass. We get so many strangers coming through town these days, after all. Something I can do for you. I'd like to ask you some questions. Do you have any work? I have a problem someone competent like yourself might be able to help with, and there's coin in it for you to boot. Might you be interested? What's the problem? I received word from Waterdeep not long ago that a group of criminals escaped from the Bulwark prison. Dangerous bunch, killers all. According to the word, the group be split up to avoid capture, but all of them be in this region. That makes me nervous, it does. Each of them has a sizable bounty for their left ear, marked with the steel of the Bulwark, to prove that they be dead. 'Tis too dangerous a task to set me on men to it, but perhaps you might be up for the challenge. What do you think, lass? I'll do it. 'Tis a relief to hear that, lass. If left free and alive, these criminals would become a problem, I'm sure. I hope you finds them all. The 5 be named as follows: Zor, the Sturge, Wyvern, Delilah, and Yezger. Tell me about Zor. Zor be a Minotaur, so he should stick out wherever he goes. He be strong and a fierce warrior, but a wee bit simple in the head. I'm told that he has many friends still in Luskan. It may be that he'll be there, or at least attempting to enter the city. Tell me about the Sturge. The Sturge is a strange one, a gnome thief, it said, who believed himself to be the smartest man alive. The gnome were sighted last in the wildlands along the south road, but he could be anywhere there. Tell me about Wyvern. The Wyvern was an elven man, a renowned bandit who is familiar with the ways of the wood. He be deceptive and cunning and skilled with the bow. The elf has not been sighted, though I have little doubt he is hidden in Neverwinter Wood. Best search for him there. Tell me about Delilah. Female halfling, who's known to be cruel and wicked. She be an assassin who comes out of Luskan. I hear the city closed up tight, however, so I doubt she'll be there. Last word I have of that one is that she was spotted east of town, and then all but vanished. Tell me about Yezger. Yezger be the fiercest half-orc murderer, and it was he be the mastermind of the escape of these criminals. Of all the ones that have escaped, 'tis Yezger who's remained the most elusive. I've not a clue where he might be, though he will not stray far. Alright, I'll be going. Bounty hunt. Kendrak, head of the Mercenary Guild and mayor of Port Llast, has put out a reward for the death of 5 dangerous prisoners escaped from Waterdeep. They have separated to avoid detection, but can all be easily identified by the means of a tattoo on their left ear, marking them as inmates of the Bulwark prison. It's the tattoo that Kendrak wants as evidence of the deed. Zor, a burly minotaur, is rumored to have been spotted on the north road near the Green Griffin Inn. Wyvern, an elven ranger with a taste for trickery, will likely have sought refuge in the Neverwinter Wood. Sturge, an egomaniacal gnome, was last sighted on the road south of Port Llast. Delilah, a halfling assassin, who once made her home in Luskin, was seen on the road east of Port Llast. Yezger, the group's ringleader and mastermind, remains elusive, though Kendrick doubts that he'd stray far. Excellent. Alright, there's no more quests in here, so let's get going and pick up the rest of the quests. Gonna just pick up all the quests. We're gonna pick up all the quests we can, and then we're gonna go. We're gonna go... Oh. You're an adventurer, aren't you? I mean, greetings. That is, my pa and I could certainly use your help. What seems to be the problem? Well, me and my pa, his name's Gerald. Everyone in Port Llast knows him. We live on a farm just north of the town gates. There's lots of monsters that live in the hills around there, around our farm. Normally they don't bother us so much, but lately they've been ambushing travelers and caravans and such, being real bold. They even went and kidnapped my mother while me and pa were away from the farm last week, so my pa sent me to the town to get help. You want me to find your mother? We just need your help. All I ask is that you go and talk to my pa, Gerald, nothing else. Alright, I'll help. That would be great, milady. I'm sure my pa would appreciate it. To get to our farm, we just need to go through the north gate and follow the road a bit. I'll stay here for now, and find some more people to send to pa until he calls me back. I'm sure you'll do the trick, though. Just go and talk to him. A desperate young man has told you the tale of how his family has been plagued by humanoid bandits on the North Hills. His mother was kidnapped by them recently, and he was sent to Port Llast to find help. His father, Gerald, can be found on their farm just outside of town to the north. Cool beans. Alright. Kendrak's Mercenary Barracks. Let's go to the Alliance Arms Inn. See what's in here. Oh, no. We want to go into the temple first. Because there's a continuation of a quest in here that we get in the temple. Hey, Nurik.
Hey, Altair!
Welcome to the Tyrian Temple. Tell me, are you here for Tyr services, or perhaps the Lady Luck herself has guided you to us during these dark days? Why must I use a magical portal to enter your temple? I know it makes you strange to you, my lady, but the temple within Port Llast was actually destroyed during the time of troubles, where the gods themselves walked the face of Faerun. We had retreated to a cave far from the town, hidden well enough that we could carry on our Lord Tyr's order in safety. For our efforts, he blessed us with the portal that still connects to the town and consecrated this new place. We're no longer in danger in Port Llast, of course, but the hidden temple still serves us well. At the very least, it's a safe haven should trouble ever arise again. That makes sense. Have you need them, my sister? Shall help however I can. Perhaps you need some assistance. Well, I'm hesitant to suggest a test because of the danger involved, but it's very important. You can be certain I'll compensate you for the risk, should that matter to you. Tell me what you'd have me do. Let me tell you how it started. A short time ago, a foul beast settled into the area of town. At first, few of us knew of its presence. Indeed, Port Llast has known very few troubles for many years. Slowly, however, we became aware. Several of our citizens disappeared without a trace, and always on the night of the full moon. Wolf prints were found, and howling was constant. We thought the town besieged. The trouble was from no pack of wolves, however. It came from a creature much more powerful and cunning, a werewolf. The famous hunter Sir Carathis was sent with the orders to slay this black wolf, as we came to call it. Carathis took with him 4 of Port Llast's younger lads to aid in the task, but unfortunately, the Black Wolf was merciless. He overcame the night and attacked the 4 boys, and only young Ander managed to return to us unharmed. According to Ander, the 3 other boys were wounded, but had managed to flee. I fear this means the curse of the werewolf will have been passed on to them. If the boys are not found and cured or killed, we could very well be facing even more danger than from the Black Wolf alone. I have silver charms here, which may yet drive the curses from their blood. You must subdue the beasts first, however, and convince them to use the charms, if you can. And then the Black Wolf himself must be dealt with. As I said, a terrible but vital task. I'll do this for you. You don't know how relieved I am to hear that. Here, take the silver charms, and hopefully they can be used to cure all 3 boys and Sir Carathis, should he still live. Each of the boys wears a ring. They should give them up freely if cured. Bring them back to me, and then I'll know their situations are resolved. Alright, goodbye. Those children, the town prays for them. We all do. I hope you will be their savior, and may Tyr be at your side. Great. Nurik, the priest of Tyr who presides in Port Llast Temple, warns of a terrible tragedy that has befallen some of the town's young men. Sir Carathis Ironheart, a traveling werewolf hunter, enlisted the help of 4 boys to hunt a foul lycanthrope known only as the Black Wolf. It was a trap, however, and Sir Carathis was himself the Black Wolf. His claws raked the flesh of Bran, Earth, and Geth, infecting them with his dread disease, leaving only the youngest boy, Ander, to escape. Nurik believes that, if found soon enough, the 3 men may still be curable by a charm he has concocted. Ander currently spends his days at the Alliance Arms Inn, trying to spread the news among the adventurers of the tragedy that befell his friends. Nurik recommends speaking with the boy to gain an understanding of where those friends may now be hiding. I didn't hear anything about how Sir Carathis was the Black Wolf. Nurik didn't say anything like that. Alright, Alliance Arms Inn. Elaith.
Greetings to you. It is rare we see new faces come to drink with us at the Alliance Inn.
Don't worry, young Ander. This will work out yet. Everything happens for a reason, it does.
Thanks so much for helping me, Al-Halar.
You look familiar somehow. It is certainly an odd way to begin a conversation. I would have expected you to introduce yourself at the very least. I am known as Elaith the Kralnuber. Is it times like this that I can't hear myself with this music. It is times like this I do so wish I could return to Evermeet, where grace and courtly manners are custom rather than an exception. Alas, the way is closed to me now. Elaith Kralnober, I've heard that name before. Ah, yes, a smuggler and ruthless adventurer of Waterdeep. Perhaps you heard of my little encounter with the Knights of the Shield. It is of no matter. You heard tales only of the man I once was. I am no longer he, even if you choose not to believe me. What are you doing here, then? Not that it is truly any of your business, but I am seeking passage to Evermeet. The way is closed to me, however, and seeking an alternative route is proving difficult. What is this Evermeet you mentioned? Evermeet is an island that has become the home and refuge of the elven folk since Queen Amlaril.
Everything happens for a reason, it does.
Thanks so much for helping me, Al-Halar.
Rule? Okay. Move to the court there. I'm surprised you have not heard of it. It's a wondrous and beautiful place. If you have never seen it, I myself have not gazed upon its forests for a very long time now. As I said, however, Evermeet is closed to the likes of Elaith Kralnober. Evermeet is closed to you. Why? Obviously, I am not one of the elven folk. Obviously, I am one of the elven folk, and Evermeet is my ancestral home. I was born there, but left long ago. The way back is close to me because I have not always been the best of man, you see. Smuggling, thievery. I have my sins, I admit. I am no longer the reckless youth I once was, however. I have retired from my illegal activities, and am now simply weary and seeking peace. My heart longs to return to Evermeet, to show its beauty to my daughter. She's never seen the homeland of her own people, you see, and I promise to take her there one day, though that may prove an impossible
Thanks so much
task.
for helping me, Al-Halar.
Please continue. The only way I may return home is through the construction of a ceremonial scepter. gifted to an official in Lathelspar. It is a bribe of sorts, but an old and cultural one, and the requirements are very specific. The scepter must be adorned with 5 separate gems, cut by an elven master craftsman, difficult to find in Faerun, to say the least. 2 of the gems I have. The final 3 I've tracked to this area, but sadly their owners are loath to part with them for any price. Without them I cannot complete the scepter, and neither I nor my daughter will ever return to Evermeet. A fitting fate for me, perhaps, but cruelly unfair to her. So what do you intend to do? I intend to get those gems, with or without the owner's permission. I will not give up on my quest now, not when I am so close. I may just have to hire someone to get them for me, but by whatever means necessary. In fact, you seem like someone who might have the skills I need.
Don't worry,
What do you say?
This will
Might you be
work
interested in
out
a test that requires
Everything
stealth and
happens
dial?
for a reason,
I would
it
reward
does.
you well
Thanks
for
so
your
much
success.
for helping me, Al-Halar.
Very well, I shall help you recover these gems. Good, I was beginning to think I would encounter nobody willing and capable in doing this for me. Let me tell you exactly what you must search for. The 3 gems are small, the size of a fingernail, but elegantly carved and with many delicate facets. They are light-hued and will have something vaguely dark in their center. One of the gems is in the possession of Wenef, a local wizard. I suspect the gem is secreted away in his tower, which can be found in the grassland between Port Llast and Charwood. The tower gates are magically locked, and I do not know how they can be opened. Here, I've acquired a key that will open Wenef's cottage here in Port Llast. It is near the eastern gate, and may have some information that will allow access to the tower. Wenef has not been in the cottage for some time, but still I bid you caution. Another gem is held by a fierce warrior woman named Zamithra, who passed through several days ago. I believe she said she was bound for Luskin,
Thanks so
but
much
she
for helping
certainly
me,
could have been
Al-Halar.
lying. The third, I have learned, is held by Sitara, a witch who dwells within Neverwinter Wood to the east of here. Contacting her has proven quite difficult. I wish I had more information to go on. Hopefully, however, this shall prove enough. I wish you the best of luck. Ander.
Hello there. Is there something the matter? Did you have something to ask of me?
I spoke with Nurik. He said that I should see you. Oh, he said it was okay to tell you about the Black Wolf, I guess. Do you want to hear about that, then? Yes, tell me. I suppose there's no harm in talking about it, if Nurik says it's okay. He said I should try to forget about it, stop thinking about it so much. I don't know. I try. Sometimes I feel kind of normal, and then all I can see is those eyes looking out from the cave. And there's that feeling of knowing something is wrong. Total fear. Anyway, Karathis was a werewolf hunter, and he came here to hunt the Black Wolf. That's what we call Port Llast werewolf. Karathis wanted some help, so me and some friends volunteered, Bran, Geth, and Earth. We didn't think there was any real wolf anyway, and Karathis' coin was good. Together we began the hunt for the Black Wolf. We found the wolf tracks and followed them to a cave. Karathis went in while we set up camp. It's just outside of Luskin, the cave, in the hills east of the Green Griffin. Not long after we set up camp, Karathis came out, but as a werewolf. I was so scared, I can still see his face so clearly. I couldn't help but run. We all ran. I'm the only one that got away. The rest are probably beasts now, or dead. Why did Karathis insist on going in alone? He was worried about us, and he thought it was his duty. I don't think I could have gone in alone, or even with him. I don't think I could ever go back to that cave either. Why did Karathis need your help then? He was afraid that the Black Wolf would try to escape. He wanted us to keep it from running away. We didn't know what to do when he went in and came out as a beast. I'm sorry, did you need something else? Do you know where the others might be? You mean Earthbrand and Geth? I know places that they like to go before. I haven't been able to look yet. I want to, but I can't. Do you know where Earth could be? His family might know. I would ask them myself, but I'm too ashamed to speak with them. I don't know what happened to Earth, but I think they likely hate me. If you want to ask them about Earth, they live on the south side of town. Just don't say anything about me. What about Bran? Where would he go? Bran liked the mysteriousness of Charwood. I wouldn't be surprised if he's there now. If you find him, tell him I said hello, and that I'm still thinking about him. What can you tell me about Geth? Geth was the one that talked me into doing this. He always dragged me out to Neverwinter Wood, and we'd pretend we were heroes. Maybe he went there. What about Sir Karathis? Where would he be? I guess you could look at the werewolf's den? I don't really know. He wasn't from around here, so he might have left for anywhere. Goodbye. I hope you enjoy your time in Port Llast. Hello, Solomon.
They said you was plain looking all right. But you're the
Don't
hero
worry,
of
young Ander,
Neverwinter,
this will
that much
work
is
out
sure.
yet. Everything happens for a reason, it does.
Who are you calling
Thanks
plain
so
looking?
much for helping me, Al-Halor.
Oh, pardon my rudeness, madam. I never meant it in that way. Just they don't describe you well is all. Why would you need my description? Oh, I'm not going about this very well at all, am I? I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure it was really you. I wanted to thank you. I have family in Neverwinter, and you saved their lives when you cured the plague. I wanted to give you this ring as a token of my gratitude. Keep it, I don't need it. But, it's a very nice ring. Please take it. That's why I wanted to find you, after all, to give it to you for all you've done. Very well, thank you. This is shady as fuck, Solomon. Okay, I don't know if it's magical, but it always brought me luck. I hope it brings you luck too. Thank you again, and farewell. Alright, that's all the quests in here. Let's, read. Solomon. A halfling named Solomon approached you at the Alliance Arms Inn, quite insistent on giving you a ring in return for saving his family in Neverwinter.
Don't worry, young Ander, this will work out yet.
Gonna leave so that they stop saying
for a
that.
reason, it does.
Thanks so much for helping me, Al-Halor.
He suspects that Bran is somewhere along the road to Charwood, and Geth might be taking refuge in the Neverwinter woods. Anzer wasn't sure about Earth, but recommended talking to his parents, who live at the edge of town. The last time Ander saw Karathis, it was at the supposed cave of the Black Wolf in the hills east of the Green Griffin Inn. The infamous adventurer Elaith the Serpent, Kralnober, appears to have at last become homesick for the land of Evermeet. He fled so long ago. He and his daughter are currently staying at the inn in Port Llast, searching for the 3 gems that would help them make the journey home. Unfortunately, the gems are not in the hands of people interested in parting easily with them. The first is in the possession of a local wizard by the name of Wenev. He lives in his tower at the south of town. The second is held by a warrior, Zemithra, who recently passed through Port Llast on her way to Luskin. The final gem is the personal treasure of Satara, Witch of the Neverwinter Wood. Whoops. Alright, there's a quest up there. I think that might be all the quests here. I'll double check though. I'll double check before ending the episode. It is running a bit late. Eltura?
Welcome to the shop, as I like to say. I am Eltura Subtil, and a finer collection of wares you are not apt to find.
Ask you some questions. I'm looking for work. Well, I do indeed have a task for you. How do you feel about recovering some old tomes for me? Good. Tell me more. Scattered around the region are 5 tomes of ancient Imaskar. I want you to find these tomes and return them here to me. If you can do this, then I will reward you far beyond the value of the books. Of that you can be certain. The 5 tomes that I want you to find are the tomes of Resonance, Life, Death, Ice, and Fire. Where could the Tome of Fire be? The Tome of Fire has been a tricky one for me to locate. My scrying attempts reveal that it is far south, but I cannot see where specifically. It would make sense that the tome was within the Charwood, though I know not why that realm resists my scrying. If it were anywhere else, I think I could locate it. Where's the Tome of Ice? Near to here, but to the south, you'll find a tower. Within the tower, you shall find the Tome of Ice. Of course, the owner of the tower is a powerful wizard in his own right, so you should be cautious in your approach. There's 2 reasons to go after Wenev. Tome of Life. The tome was in the possession of Brother Taurus, a member of the Arcane Brotherhood. I'd planned to buy it from him, but he died before I had the chance. I checked around when I heard he was dead, but it wasn't among his personal possessions. The only place I haven't searched yet is his tomb. I simply haven't had the time. Tome of Life. The tome... Oh, no, I just asked that one. Shit. Tome of Death. Like the Tome of Fire, my scrying tells me that the Tome of Death has followed the long, dark road into Charwood. If only I could see more, but the region is impervious to my effects. Where is the Tome of Resonance? My scrying has shown that it was originally taken east into the Neverwinter Woods. Perhaps if you go to Neverwinter Woods, a clue or 2 will reveal itself. Alright, goodbye. Good hunting, madam. Come again. With the Whaling's cure and subsequent removal of Neverwinter's quarantine, the wizardess Eltura has journeyed to Port Llast to provide her services to those searching for the cult responsible. She comes with ulterior motives, however, as she seeks a collection of ancient tomes from a lost civilization of Amaskar. The 5 books are said to act as recipes, providing guidance to those undertaking magical experiments. Should any of the tomes be found, she will not only reward whomever returns them. I've scrolled down and immediately lost where I was. Whoever returns them, but also makes the tomes publicly available to all arcanists who wish to experiment with them in her library. Through scrying attempts, she has managed to narrow down the locations of the 5 tomes of Amaskar. The Tome of Fire and the Tome of Death are both said to be lost in Charwood, while the Tome of Life apparently rests with the corpse of Brother Taurus in the cemetery outside the walls of Luskan. The Tome of Ice is housed within the tower south of Port Llast, and then the last, the Tome of Resonance, is somewhere along the treacherous road deep into Neverwinter Wood. Alright, I am going to quickly check on the quest list for Port Llast. I think I have them all, but I'm not sure. Yep, that is all of them. So that is all the time I have for today. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I've been Rael. My throat is very sore, so I'm gonna go get some water. I will see you next time when we're gonna start acting on some of these quests. Bye!